Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat, and then we can get today's stream started. And as I'm waiting for the ones to come into the live chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does, that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, watching all of my live streams and not hitting the subscribe button, please do me a favor and do yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms as well, to inform your family and friends of this news and information. And yes, it does also help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm also. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below, and will be pinned in the comment section as well. And it is also pinned in the live chat. That is extremely important. And lastly, follow me on Rumble. If you're not following me on Rumble at TD Media Group, go ahead and please follow me there too. I'm simulcasting on Rumble right now as we speak. So I'll probably leave the Rumble up for a little bit before I switch it back to the TD Media Group. But now that I see the ones are coming in, man, let's get the show started. Joy Reid and MSNBC. Where do we start? Like I always say, the people who cry, misinformation, disinformation, dangerous rhetoric, hurtful, you're saying hurtful rhetoric. The people who cry this stuff the most are the ones who engage in it the most. And you will find some of the most dangerous and most hurtful rhetoric. Now, I'm not personally hurt, but you get the point with where we're going with this stream. Some of the most dangerous and hurtful rhetoric can be found on MSNBC. But funny enough, they always are able to find a way to spin things around to make it appear as if you, me, and those who don't agree with them are the ones spewing hurtful and hateful rhetoric. I don't have this video queued up right now, but I do plan on, we'll see if I actually do it, but I do plan on doing a standalone video on this tomorrow. But I believe it was today, Mika Brzezinski, the fact that I pronounced her name wrong, that could be considered hate speech of some sort. And I genuinely, is it Micah or Mika? I'm not sure. The reason that I say that could be hate speech is because today, Mika or Micah Brzezinski, right, the wife of Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe, she stated that the hateful attacks on Kamala Harris has begun. And when I'm sitting here listening, I'm like, okay, what are these hateful attacks? The hateful attacks are deliberately mispronouncing her name wrong. I believe her name is Kamala. I think maybe you're properly supposed to pronounce Kamala Harris's name as Kamala. I think it's Kamala Harris, technically. But me and a lot of other people say Kamala. I kind of interchanged it too. Sometimes I say Kamala, sometimes I say Kamala. But apparently that's hate speech now. Like mispronouncing someone's name is hate speech, right? But referring to Black men who support Trump as incels who desperately want to be white men, that's not hate speech at all. That's not hate at all. That's not dangerous rhetoric at all. That's fair play. As the saying goes, what's the saying? Is par for the course, right? Yes. If you don't know, if you're a Black man who supports Donald Trump, you are an incel who desperately wants to be a white man, according to Joy Reid. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But what I want to do is kind of just take a quick walk down, you can say kind of like the brief history, of hate speech towards black men who have the audacity to support Trump, right? Or just to think differently outside of the box, outside of the DNC norms, you can say. A lot of this foolishness started with this article here. And I'm going to pull this article up first. Some of you might remember this, some of you might not. This was actually like a really big talking point, like in 2017 or something like that. Straight black men are the white people of black people. This is probably one of the most nonsensical theories that I've ever heard in my life. But like I said, at the time back then, it did gain a little bit of traction and it did have, people talking. People were discussing whether or not straight black men were the white people of black people. And I just want to read a little bit of this foolishness for you. And then I want to move on to a video clip, or I should say an audio of Maxine Waters afterwards. And then we'll get to Joyless Reid. But this article reads as such. It feels counterintuitive to suggest that straight black men as a whole possess any sort of privilege, particularly the type of privilege created for and protected by whiteness. In America, we are near or at the bottom of every relevant metric determining quality of life. Our arrest and incarceration rates, our likelihood of dying a violent death, our likelihood of graduating high school and attending college, our employment rates, our average net worth, our likelihood of surviving past 70. I can continue, but the point is clear. Black men are down bad, collectively speaking, right? So let's carry on, because he immediately contradicts himself. And the guy that wrote this is black, allegedly, I guess, some black DNC guy. But he immediately contradicts himself here. But assessing our privilege or lack thereof on these facts considers only our relationship with whiteness and white America. Intraracially, however, our relationship to and with black women is not unlike whiteness's relationship to us. In fact, it is eerily similar. So the intra-racial relationship between straight black men and black women is the same thing, apparently, as the relationship between white people and black people. And these are the list of examples that he gives. Number one, we're the ones whom the first black president created an entire initiative to assist and uplift. Well, it would make sense for him to do that. And to be clear, it wasn't just for black men. It was for boys of color, males of color, you can say, right? Hispanics were included in that, whatever. But my point is, if you go back to the top of this article, where he's listing off how down bad black men are collectively, then wouldn't it make sense to get them back up to par, to where they should be? Some sort of program would be created to help uplift them. It makes logical sense. But when the point of the article is just simply to trash black men, all logical sense goes out the window at that point. The second reason is this: we're the ones whose beatings and deaths at the hands of the police galvanize the community in a way that beating and SA and deaths that those same police inflict upon black women do not. No, well, number one, that's not a flex, right? Who gets beat up or shot by the police more, black women or black men? We take the cake with that one. Like that's not a flex. Number one, and number two, to the degree that all of this is true, right? What he's saying here concerning the relationship between black men and police. If you look at the numbers, the interaction between black men and police concerning police brutality and or death, those negative interactions far outnumber by leaps and bounds whatever those interactions are between police and black women. So it would make all the sense in the world that those that are having the most negative relationship with police would get the most attention. Once again, that's just if we're just speaking logically, we're just being logical here. But once again, when the goal is just simply to attack Black men for thinking differently and thinking outside of the Democrat Party norms, all logic goes out the window. We're the ones whose mistreatment inspired a boycott of the NFL, despite the NFL's long history of mishandling and outright ignoring far worse crimes against Black women. Where is the data that supports that argument? Do NFL players, is there a strong history or a long history in the NFL where Black women are getting violated and the NFL just does nothing about it? And it's mainly and overwhelmingly Black women that get violated and the NFL just does nothing? Where's the evidence that supports that? I haven't seen any. It sounds like this guy is just talking out of his behind, as far as I'm concerned. We are the ones, and get this, and then we're going to get into the video clips. This is probably the stupidest thing that I've heard. We're the ones, Black men, who get the biggest seat at the table and the biggest piece of chicken at the table, despite making the smallest contribution to the meal. Yes, Black men are the white people, straight Black men are the white people of Black people because we get the biggest seat at the table and the biggest piece of chicken. This is his illogical reasoning for why Black men who think outside of the traditional, I guess you can say DNC norms, straight Black men are the white men of Black people. This is the logic or illogic behind it, right? And from that moment moving forward, what you really saw was just a normalization of the DNC, right, on the left side of the political spectrum. We really saw from that point moving forward just the normalization of just them trashing Black men and talking to them and talking about them as if they're dumb, bell-curved little children, right? Who should just be following behind a Black woman like a little boy following behind his mommy because he doesn't even know how to wipe his own behind. And if you don't listen and you don't do what you're told, you're going to be casted out, as some, degenerate to society because God forbid you vote for Trump, right? Check out what Maxine Waters had to say in 2020. Let me pull this up for you right now.
Black young men who think.
Let me rewind this back just a little bit.
And for those Black young men who think somehow they can align themselves with Trump, not only are they terribly mistaken, any of them showing their face, I will never, ever forgive them.
You better not show your face. If Black men who support Donald Trump, if you support Trump, you better not ever show your face because Maxine Waters will never forgive you. And I'm pretty sure you don't want that. I'm pretty sure we all want Maxine Waters' forgiveness, her love, and her grace and her mercy. We do not want Maxine Waters to not forgive us. That's not what we want. Jay the Informant said, TD, hide your face. I shouldn't talk about this and have my face showing. Yeah? I would take it from the top and let it play out. It's only about 45 seconds long. Let me let Queen Maxine talk because we don't want to offend Queen Maxine.
And for those Black young men who think somehow they can align themselves with Trump, not only are they terribly mistaken, any of them showing their face, I will never, ever forgive them for undermining the possibility to help their own people and their own communities. It is absolutely unconscionable. It is shameful. But if they would spend some time with us, we would help them to know what we're struggling for.
If Black men would just spend some time with Black women, they could help us understand what they're struggling for. Because you're just too dumb, stupid, and apparently bell-curved to know and understand anything, especially if you're voting for Trump, right? But the tripling and quadrupling down on this statement now comes with the 2024 election with Joy Reid. This happened on Friday on the last day of the Republican National Convention. And Joy Reid is talking on MSNBC, talking foolishness. And she says this about black men. She says black men who support Trump are the equivalent to incels who desperately want to be white men. Let's get into this clip right now. There are 549 of you in the stream. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. And there are 56 of you watching on Twitter right now. If you haven't already, please migrate from off Twitter onto TD Media Group, the actual YouTube channel, so you can participate in the lively live chat that's going on right now. So let's get into this. Let's hear what Joyless Reid has to say.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were talking about this during the break. I mean, this is the Javier Milei election, right? I mean, and then in Argentina, that's how that went, which is that you had this coalition of, and not to be cruel, but it was described as sort of an incel election. It was the young,
an incel election. I'll let it play. I'm sorry. Let's let it go a little bit.
And not to be cruel, but it was described as sort of an incel election. It was the young, angry men of Argentina who they wanted a macho candidate, and it went along with policies like banning abortion, banning birth control, and the idea of no fault divorce. It all kind of goes together.
So there was an election, an incel election in Argentina, where apparently what happened, according to Joy Reid, is that there were a bunch of angry young men who were incels, and they were angry incels who voted for whatever the name is of that president that they voted for, because apparently he was some sort of manly man full of machismo and all that good stuff that represented what an alpha male should be and is supposed to look like. And because they themselves are incels, they voted for this macho man because they saw themselves in him, or at least who they would like to be in him. And I've actually heard that argument before, minus the disrespectful incel comment. I've heard that argument before from vote blue no matter, black vote blue no matter who's. I've heard that argument before, that black men who support Trump only support Trump because he comes off as sounds stupid, but he comes off as gangster. He comes off as hard. He comes off as a manly man who he beats his chest and he does what he wants to do, and he's stepping on toes and he doesn't care, who's feeling that it hurts. And apparently that's the reason why black men support Donald Trump, is because I guess Donald Trump is the manly man that we desperately want to be but can't, according to Joy Reid's logic, and honestly the logic of a lot of vote blue no matter who. Like I said, I've heard that before. I've heard that logic before, just minus the incel insults. But let's rewind it back just a little bit, and I'll let her finish out somewhat.
Of Argentina, who, not to be cruel, but it was described as sort of an incel election. It was the young, angry men of Argentina who they wanted a macho candidate, and it went along with policies like banning abortion, banning birth control, and the idea of no fault divorce. It all kind of goes together. That you've seen this kind of election before. You see the same thing in Hungary. The Orbanism of the party is it's rooted in returning white Christian men, but also white men and white adjacent men, black men, brown men who are white adjacent in terms of trying to also be in that dominant position in this.
It is so mind-blowingly stupid that it's really hard to just even, it's hard for me to articulate what I really want to say in a family-friendly manner. It's really difficult because TD Media Group is a family-friendly channel. I pride myself on you being able to put these videos on anywhere, and you don't have to worry about me saying anything crazy. So it's difficult for me to what I really want to say I can't say, right? What I really want to say I can't say. But it's just completely idiotic and stupid and low IQ, dare I say, for Joy Reid to come to such a dumb low IQ conclusion as that the only reason black men support Donald Trump is because they are incels who desperately want to be white men. There is no other logical possible reason that you as a black man could want to support Trump. There's no other reason other than that. You just want to be white. Once again, this is coming from a woman that looks like how she looks. She literally looks like a clown. The only thing that's missing is the red nose. We've gone through this so many times, and yes, I'm going to do it again. This woman that's telling black men that they are white incels for voting for Trump is the same woman that in her natural state looks like this, but not too long ago she was on TV trying to be a white woman wearing a Donald Trump wig. This is Joy Reid in her natural state. This is Joy Reid trying to look like a white woman wearing a Donald Trump wig. Joy Reid in her natural state. Joy Reid trying to look like a white woman. She's literally trying to do the Sammy Sosa. And when she doesn't have her clown makeup on, trying to look like a white woman wearing a Donald Trump wig, she looks like your grandpa on a Saturday morning. This is Joy Reid looking like your grandpa on a Saturday morning. This is her in her natural state. This is her in her on-air state when she's trying to look like a white woman wearing a Donald Trump wig. She's literally trying to do the Sammy Sosa. While on the weekends when she's not on air, she looks like your grandpa. And this is the woman that's telling you that you are a white incel for voting for and supporting Trump. That's who's telling you this, is this woman. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's let her finish out what she has to say. I'll rewind it back just a little bit, and I'm just going to let it play now. Matter of fact, I'll just take it from the top, and I'll let it play uninterrupted.
You know, it's interesting because we were talking about this during the break. I mean, this is the Javier Milei election, right? I mean, and then in Argentina, that's how that went, which is that you had this coalition of, and not to be cruel, but, it was described as sort of an incel election. It was the young, angry men of Argentina who, they wanted a macho candidate. And it went along with policies like banning abortion, banning birth control, and, the idea of no-fault divorce. It all kind of goes together that you've seen this kind of election before. You see the same thing in Hungary. Like the Orbanism of the party it's rooted in returning white Christian men, but also white men, white adjacent men, black men, brown men who are white adjacent in terms of trying to also be in that dominant position in society. And then you have women who are willing to go along with that, right? There are a certain number of women who are also willing, the trad wife sort of thing. And so what you've seen on the stage.
So for you black women that support Trump, you didn't go unscathed. She referred to you all as trad wives. For those of you who don't know what a trad wife is, if I'm not mistaken, that's like an abbreviation for traditional wife, right? Traditional wife meaning you actually respect your husband, and you don't belittle him and emasculate him. You probably enjoy actually taking care of the home. You might be a traditional wife who, enjoys and takes pride in taking care of the children and taking care of the home while your husband goes out and, make ends meet for the family. I don't see anything wrong with being a traditional wife if that's what you want to be. The fact that there's even a term for that is stupid. But somehow that's wrong. Somehow women being traditional wives simply meaning you don't disrespect your husband, you have respect for your husband, and you enjoy taking care of your children and cook a meal every now and then, you know what I mean, to a husband who's deserving, because I'm sure if you're a traditional wife who enjoys doing these things, you have a husband that holds you down as a husband's supposed to. Apparently that's a negative. Women should not be traditional wives at all, right? You should disrespect your husband at all time, belittle him, emasculate him, talk to him crazy, never cook him a meal, and don't take care of the children. That's what you're supposed to do. Apparently that's what A real woman does. That's what women that look like this do, apparently. What did the Godfather say? Modern women? Rest in peace to the Godfather. Rest in peace to the Godfather, man. I don't even honestly have much more to say from this point, because honestly, like I I want to be nasty about it, but this isn't the place to be nasty at. You know, it's not the place to be nasty at. I have a lot of mean-spirited things running through my head right now, but this isn't the channel for that. So we're just going to leave it here, right? We're about 25 minutes in. We're going to leave it here. But I wanted to present this to you all. Look at the disrespect that goes through the airwaves to millions of people on a daily basis. The black male bashing coming from a liberal media outlet where they care to claim so much about people of color, minorities, marginalized groups, black people. I mean, you know, everything is hateful and harmful. You know, you can't do or say anything without offending anybody. But if you're a black male who supports Trump, then apparently you deserve all the disrespect in the world. You deserve all the disrespect in the world, and you deserve all the disrespect that comes your way. And you'll get it. You will get it on a nightly basis on a mainstream media, nationally syndicated news channel like MSNBC, where in front of millions of people, let's be honest, they're not getting millions, right? But, you know, in front of a couple of thousand people, they will insult you and disrespect you, call you all outside of your name, every negative thing in the book, because you have the audacity to support Trump over Kamala Harris. Apparently, all you black men are incels who desperately want to be white men. So shout out to all you black men who thought you were black. You're not black. You're white male incels, according to Joy Reid. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream, man. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Looks like I'm a little blurry on the screen right now. I don't know why. Let me give my shout out to those of you who's contributed to today's show. There are, what are there? 736 of you in the live stream right now. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Don't let there be 736 of you all in the live stream and you don't hit the like button on your way out. Please, come on, man. Hold me down. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank you very much for doing so. And subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Shout out to Minnesota County Unsolved Crime Channel. Minnesota County Unsolved Crime Channel said, too many black men let these women say anything. I agree with you. You also stated she looks like the men she talks about. Yeah, I mean, you look like somebody grandpa right here. She's looking like somebody grandpa, you know, but have the audacity to, you know, want to talk about the men that she looks like, you know, at least what she looks like on the weekend when she's not trying to, you know, look like a white woman wearing a Trump wig, right? Let's see what else do we have here. Who else do we have here? Let me pull myself back up on the screen. What else do we have here? We also have a shout out to my man Saul coming through as he always does. TD channeling his inner Kevin Samuels. I was definitely holding back. Saul, I was definitely holding back, but you know that Kevin Samuels, the Godfather, was tempted to just jump out of me. You know, I'm a PhD. Minnesota County Unsolved Crime Channel said again, brother, can we roast her tonight? Let me call in. Unfortunately, I don't do call-in shows, but she deserves a good roast, and I'm sure somebody will do it. Somebody will do it. Somebody will give her a good roasting after coming across this information here. Somebody will do it, but it's not going to be me. We keep it family friendly over here. You know, Brian Thomas says, love your channel. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you, Brian. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. And shout out to Vic the Villain. Vic the Villain said, I finally made it to a live. I'm not a ghost watcher, I promise. I appreciate you for not being a ghost watcher. Shout out to all the people who are actually subscribed to the channel. If you're a ghost watcher, come on, man. You watch all my videos. You click the YouTube app, and I was the first thing that popped up on your homepage, but you're not subscribed. Come on, man. Hit the subscribe button. All right. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, same time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Have a great evening and a safe one. Peace.